everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Can you come in a little bit so I don't have to scream?
They remembered you. I'm sure, but you were probably little.
Thank you everyone for coming here this morning. It's really a joyous event to be able to celebrate the life and legacy of Jack Fraser, who was a dear friend and neighbor, a community activist, if you will, and a wonderful man. I see people that knew him as friends, people that knew him professionally, and people knew him with his work for the city. So thank you all for coming. It means a great deal to me. And I especially want to thank our new state representative, Judith Garcia, who I had the pleasure of meeting in the park a couple of weeks ago. And she's just as enthused about Mary O'Malley Park as we are, and what her work here will do in Chelsea and the other communities surrounding us. So thank you, Judith, for coming this morning. Appreciate that. Leo Robinson, who you'll hear from in a few minutes. Leo was instrumental, along with State Representative Dan Ryan, in getting the momentum going for the naming of this beautiful park in honor of Jack, our friend Jack Fraser. So Leo will speak a little bit more to that in a few minutes. I do want to thank him publicly for all the work he did, and Dan Ryan, who's not here, but I want to thank him as well. So thank you. Next to thank, huge thank you to the DCR. I'm telling you, we couldn't do this without the DCR. We have Chris Hawk here with us today and Millard Ring, and we are just so delighted. I've had the pleasure of working with Sandra Libby, who, believe it or not, has the best job at the DCR. She is a playground planner, and she loves this park, and she was really helpful, as Mills has been, and Chris, and we're just very grateful to them. And I just wanted to point out a couple of things that the DCR has done for us just in the last year. We have brand new sidewalks that are fabulous. They're beautiful. We have new pathways around the areas of the park, and there's a beautiful new sign that actually says Mary O'Malley State Park down near the buildings down there. So we're really very, very happy. They really worked very hard to get this sign up. Mills, thank you. Chris, thank you. And we couldn't do this. It's a great collaboration that started a long time ago. And it continues to be a wonderful collaboration as well. So we're going to have a couple of other people talk in just a minute. I probably should introduce myself. My name is Marlene Jennings, and I'm the permanent president of the Friends of Mary O'Malley Park, and delighted to be here. Love the park. My husband and I walk here like 4 or 5 mornings a week, and we just love being on so close to this beautiful space. When I was going through some of the paperwork, I found the first minutes of September 2004 from the Friends of Mary O'Malley Park. So we're keeping it going. Jack started it. We're keeping it going. Joan was a founding member, and we have a few other founding members that couldn't be here today. Kevin was a founding member. Kevin Kelleher was a founding member. And we're just so delighted that the momentum continues in Jack's name. So with that, I'd like to have Leo come up and say a couple of things and talk about what you always do best.
Well, thank you. Actually, it started before the pandemic. It was a long ride to get to this point. Marlene was up. We were always in constant contact. Mike actually gave me some of the background on Jack, but I also met Jack at Ron Marguez's cookout on July 4th week. I got to know Jack over the years. I think it's wonderful that you are continuing to carry on his tradition and making sure that the park is well taken care of. And if you don't do that, we know what happens to the park. Danny Ryan played a big role at the State House, making sure that we were able to get it done. DCR people, but can't say enough about all the work that you continue to do here at the park. I know our state rep will be keeping an eye on you to make sure that we keep the park in perfect shape. I won't take up much of your time, but Jack was a friend. I met through Mike, and through Ron, and I just hope we keep this tradition alive. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. We are very fortunate to have a new state representative with us who actually lives in our neighborhood. And I'd like to introduce Judith Garcia. She's our new state rep, and she is got wonderful ideas and big plans and a kind heart. And I think she's going to do a great job. So Judith,
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Before I begin my remarks, I would like to recognize the dignitaries who are here. Aside from our council president, Councilor Enio Lopez is joining us today, along with former council president Roy Avellaneda, who is also here joining us today. And yes, and a member of the group. So for me, it's a great honor. I am here on behalf of a dear colleague, former state representative Danny Ryan. As you know, he was a key ally, instrumental along with Leo Robinson to make this happen. But I think today is a day of honoring the work of the Friends of O'Malley Park. I apologize. The work that you're doing, the advocacy that you're doing to ensure that kids have safe playgrounds, safe parks where they can come and play. I think that's what is really important here. And even though, Michael, I did not have the honor to meet your husband, I look forward to hearing about all the contributions that he made. And we need more people like him. We need more people like the Friends of Mary O'Malley Park to continue to do this work that is so critical. I grew up in this community, and one of my biggest traumas was I didn't have access to parks. And that was hard for me because as a child, I was deprived of that opportunity. I was deprived of the opportunity of being a child. And today, I'm honored to be here alongside you, honoring a dear friend, a person who has a great legacy. But above all, I am here to continue the work with you all to keep our parks safe. And I want to acknowledge DCR for ensuring that this place remains beautiful, not only for our kids, but for the people who choose to come walk, run, and play. So thank you so much.
before we get to Ron and Kevin, I wanted to bring up Michael Nappo. Mike, you go ahead, Mike. Michael is Jack's widow, and so he just wanted to say a couple things this morning as well.
I just want to say that it just so happens that 42 years ago this week, I first met Jack. And I knew he was very special then. And I look at that sign honoring him here, and I know he's always going to be remembered by a lot of people and by the work he's done with a lot of help and a lot of good people here. So that's all I really wanted to say. So thank you all.
Next, we'd like to ask Kevin Kelleher to come up and speak. And Kevin is the manager of the entire Hill and a longtime friend and very good friend of Jack Fraser. So, Kevin.
Marlene, thank you. Well done. I met Jack back in 2000. Is that right, Michael? When he first? Pretty sure. So 23 years ago. So Jack had just retired, gets involved with a condominium association. He wanted to, I don't know, make a wall of different colors. So Jack had a way about himself to be able to get himself into a groove, gets on the board, and I'm like, so I started to know Jack. And he said, I just retired. He seemed to have a pretty big job in trucking, I believe. So Jack says, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm bored. Maybe I'll go bag groceries at the movies. So over the years, Jack helped extend the maintenance agreement for Admiral's Hill, which is up for extension again. 20 years. He was able to bring people together. It was amazing. So first they'd be fighting and everything else, and then he'd circle back around and we seemed to get a deal done. So Jack was a very good friend to myself, my family, my kids, Cindy. So it's good to see everybody here.
Thank you, Kevin. Next, I'd like to invite Ron Mordacy. Ron was neighbors of ours, and he's got some funny stories about Jack and telling you about a lot of good stuff that he's done with Jack over the years. And Ron also served on Chelsea City Council for years. What years was that, Ron?
2000 and 2010.
2000. Thank you. So, Ron, why don't you come up and...
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to be here today, and this is really, very heartwarming situation for me because I'm going back 20 years ago. So I'm going to take you back 20 years ago. But before I actually do that, I just think that it's important that everybody recognize the deep history that's here, right where I'm standing, where we're all standing. In 1836, this area opened as one of the original United States naval bases. The Navy Yard was on this side in Charlestown, everything that you see, and here, and a lot of the buildings remain, was the Naval Hospital, a very prestigious naval hospital that two of our presidents were actually born at. John F. Kennedy and I'm blanking on which Adams, but Adams was born here as well. So, and we all know, I think, over the years, if you say that you're from Chelsea or affiliated with Chelsea, somebody who says, my father, my mother, or my brother or sister was born here at the Chelsea Naval Hospital. Yeah. It's a very historical site. This is 1836. In the 1900s, Boston developed the first, the forefathers had the vision, or the state leaders had the vision to say, we need a lot of open space. We're becoming a very dense area. And as Judith has said, we need to start to think about how we provide light, places for people to get out of the urban environment, be around trees, take walks, and recreate. So that was, the MDC was formed, the Metropolitan District Commission back then. And it was a big success in the sense that almost every other major city followed, setting something similar up across the country. So we go forward to the creation of Mary O'Malley Park. It was 1974 that the naval base closed, and that opened the opportunity to develop Admirals Hill and what was called the Chelsea Naval Hospital Park. One of the things that happened when that happened was that there was a nurse who worked at the hospital, Mary O'Malley, and the state leaders at the time decided to change the name, designate the name based on her cause, which was to recreate, and she felt that as a nurse, having the outdoor space was very important to the health of all. So she was a strong advocate for that, and the state recognized that and chartered this park as a passive recreational park, exactly as it is today, for people to come and enjoy. In 2004, the MDC was actually abolished and the DCR was created. There was a transition period. In that transition period, which is when I had the opportunity to meet Jack Fraser, it was not good. This park that we stand on was neglected. If you look around, it had become overgrown. You wouldn't even know that there was water behind us. That led to some other issues with illicit issues happening in the park, but the DCR also hadn't formed or been mature enough to figure out kind of how to police these parks, how to staff these parks, and there was a transition period. So when I met Jack, Jack had come from a military background at one point, and he also lived over in the Beacon Hill area, or the West End area. I believe it was Emerson Place, but it was a high-rise building that looked over the Esplanade and all the other DCR properties. And when Jack got here, he couldn't understand why this park didn't look as contiguous as the other parks did over along Storrow Drive. So he started to, I got elected as a city councilor, and he started to, work me pretty hard to push his opinion on he needed help from the city. The problem was the city didn't have any authority over this park. So his vision was at first just to get the park cleaned up and get the DCR to recognize it and take care of it, which we did with the help of the DCR, and Kevin Kelleher was extremely instrumental. My colleagues in the city council that are here today, Roy Avellaneda, Leo Robinson, and a lot of the people that are here were participants in the community around the Friends of Mary O'Malley Park. As that developed, and we we started to actually make some traction and the park got cleaned up, Jack had a bigger vision. He wanted to create something that was bigger than him, that would be the steward of the park. Well, he wanted to be the steward of the park, but when he was done, he wanted that to live beyond him. And what I'm most excited about is to stand here in front of you and see that sign. I wish Jack was here, and I believe he's here in spirit.
Oh, he is.
And I believe that this is exactly what Jack would talk to me about on the phone 24 hours a day, push me, in order to kind of drive. And I'm happy to have been part of that, and I'm even more happy to drive by. I live in Linfield now, and I work in Boston. And I drive by and I look down on this park every day, and I look with a fine-tooth eye and say, they're cutting the grass. People look like they're having it safe. People are out walking. They're using the park. And now to have a playground, which Jack was very instrumental in advocating for, named in his honor, I think is the greatest respect that Jack would have wanted. So I'm happy for that, but I'm also really happy that what you're doing, all of you, Marlene as the leader currently, Jack has created a community that lives without him, that has taken the stewardship of this park. Jack didn't just create a community that takes care of the park. Jack created a community of people that became friends and other interests. And I think Kevin kind of alluded to the same fact that I'm alluding to. Jack was a huge part of this community, a huge part of my life, a huge part of all of your lives. And I'm very happy, and I want to take a minute, honor Jack, and really, this is such a historical thing. And Jack made this happen.
Yeah, it was great. Does anyone else want to say anything that known Jack for a long time? Anyone else like to have anything to say? Cindy, come on. No.
It's got a
Yes.
Yes.
All right, come on.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for coming today. I think, I echo the sentiments of everyone that's spoken already. Jack was an incredible friend, truly caring, charismatic in his own way. I mean, he was a pain in the ass. But man, was he fun to be around. And man, could he pull it off, right? Like, you still loved him and you still wanted to be around him constantly. And a park like this just embodies what Jack was all about. It was social gatherings, it was kite festivals, it's go out, have fun, enjoy your life, enjoy your day. I mean, Jack meant the world to me, and I look around this room or park, and I can tell that he meant the world to a lot of people here, and so much so that I named my son after Jack. His middle name is Jack. It's Theodore Jack Landry. So anyway, thank you all. Thank you, Jack. You leave behind not only social norms here that are elevated than they ever were before, but also just a legacy to care, to love, and to live your lives. So thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Well,
Thanks, Steve.
Denise, come on up. This is Denise Brem. Talk about Jack.
Hi, I'm Denise Brem. I moved to the Hill in 2001, and I moved across the street in 2005 because of Jack. I had two cats that needed to go outside, and he promised me my cats would always be able to go outside. And I couldn't find that anywhere else in the Hill. And really, Jack, I'm speaking in part for our dear friend Gretchen Inman, who's very close to Jack, and who can't be here today because her father died. She's having the funeral today. So I know, I don't even know, I don't think this is on her radar right now, but I know how much she would like to be here and talk about her friend, Jack. So really, I'm standing in for Gretchen. Saying, thank you, Jack. We love you.
Oh, thank you, Denise. Well, thank you everyone for coming today. It's so nice of all of you to show up and, fill in the love for our friend Jack. He really was one of the funniest people I've ever met, especially if you're on his good side. And I really appreciate it. Again, I want to thank all the other members of the Friends of Miramelli Park. I appreciate all the work you've done for this, Judith. And DCR, thank you all for coming this morning. And we have some nice refreshments from Pani Cafe, thanks to Roy of Ayanada. So I hope you'll stay around and enjoy some coffee and little pastries and talk amongst yourselves a little bit. And thank you very, very much for coming today.
Thank you.